Hey, peeps.
And we are
Hello,
live.
everyone.
You're in for a treat tonight, yo.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, we're on fire, like we're waiting for that whole fire horse year to come, with Chinese astrology. But actually, so let's Dave, did you want to talk about like
Yeah, I
what
want to basically
prompted this
do.
whole thing, and then because I think it would be great to get people on page. However, let me at least greet in person. Hello. We have Vera Faith in the house, and we have Mel in Alaska. Fantastic. I'm glad you're here. And I'll keep an eye on the comments to see who also shows up. But for now, I'll highlight Anna Roos, and she says she'll be here in 108 minutes, and that was earlier. And then Mel, so she says hope that we'll be here. So yes, and we understand. And by the way, you can play us in the background. It's totally fine. We have replays, like everything is great. So awesome. Very good. So I'm going to switch my screen over to the document. Guys, let me know if this shows up. And then let me know if it moves.
Yeah, it's moving.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Okay, Dave, did you want to share with the audience what prompted this whole article?
I'll do it. Well, a number of things. Basically, it was convergent trajectories of different issues.
Okay.
But and a lot of the issues, because I don't know if any of you have seen the Star Trek Next Generation episode Darmok, but it's in my autobiography for those who want to know more about it. But basically, it's about an alien culture that communicates in terms of mythohistoric legends, and they'll say stuff like Darmok Angelad at Tanagra to mean a situation where two people are put in a situation where there's a greater danger, the beast of Tanagra, so they have to work together to help each other. They have a number of, in the Star Trek episode, they have a number of different sayings like that, and the Enterprise crew doesn't know anything about it, and the Universal Translator won't translate it, so they have to, by working with each other, Captain Picard and the Tamarian captain have to sort of learn each other's ways of thinking. So I do a similar thing, but I do it with song lyrics. And with these convergent trajectories of various situations, it basically the song that popped to the forefront to explain it was the song from Rush called Limelight. And basically, the whole article is based on Limelight and performers and portrayers, by which I mean a lot of people in the whole Tolkien, the Tolkien interest sphere, a lot of them are performers and portrayers, either in the otherkin manner, they believe they're elves, or in the manner of portraying themselves as great Tolkien scholars or great Tolkien linguists. Great Tolkien linguists are probably the largest group who really think that they're hot shit, and I don't. But nevertheless, anyway, that's the background to this. So. And because I'm on the autism spectrum, I can really only explain in detail my own thought processes, not anyone else's. So the first three parts of this article here are each of it. It starts with me, and then it goes to Dakyndre, and then part three is Lisa. But because I can't write like, well, this is how Lisa thinks or whatever. I sent both of them questionnaires to make sure this was an accurate article. So, if something seems off or whatever, they can correct it. If something seems off to a viewer, you'll have to ask them if it's not my section. So I'm just
okay. Did you want to share your what they call a gem? Did you want to share that now, or did you want to share it in the context of the document?
Yeah, we'll do it later, because I could do it now, but it would just be kind of, they wouldn't get the connection on why I'm doing it. So
Yeah. Okay. So you guys are like tipped off about the clue that we left in the description about, Dave has a surprise, and we're not kidding. So we'll go ahead and start. Go ahead, Dave. Did you want to like have us read our perspective, our respective area?
yeah, you can do that. I mean,
Okay.
I
Okay.
wrote it as accurately as I could, but if there's something in you
Okay.
reading it saying, well, that's not
And
really
then
correct,
like,
then
oh
you can
wait, I
correct
need
it
to
in
say it
place.
like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
got it.
And
Okay, well,
and if you do have an alteration to make, I'll make a note of it so that I can update the
oh,
article. So,
brilliant.
yeah.
Okay. And actually I thought it was really good at least when I read it before we did the video. So,
Mhm.
okay, so did you want to read your introduction and then read
Yeah,
your section?
yeah, yeah,
Dak will read his section. I'll read
Right.
my section. We'll
yeah. Oh,
have
one thing
Q&A.
here.
We'll go back and forth. Guys, we're going to be looking at the comments periodically. I'm steering the document on a different screen, but I
One
will
thing,
switch
Lisa.
back periodically. Yes.
One thing, Lisa. Before I start, I think I'll post it in our private chat here. It's basically for people
Okay.
who don't know anything about me. People who may
Oh,
see this video at a later date and don't know who I am. I'm basically very like Amos Burton from the sci-fi show The Expanse. So here's the I am that guy, and there's the YouTube.
okay. So
Yeah.
are we going to play this and then they'll
No,
probably delete
no,
it out, but
no.
we'll
You
link
don't.
it into the description later too.
Yeah. You don't want to play it now. Yeah, well, you get a copyright strike, so no
Okay,
point in
should
doing
I
that.
instead put it into the live chat
Yeah,
link?
yeah. That would probably help. If people are interested, they can click it. Or again, if they see this like 5 years from now, then they can click it then. So
Show is amazing, actually.
yeah.
It's really good. So I'm really sad that they didn't get as much on this show that it could be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch back to the screen. I'm going to add the YouTube link to the live chat for you guys to check out. You can open a new window and check it out. And what we'll do is we'll also add it to the video description.
And this
or the comments, one of the two.
Right.
We'll add it to something. Okay, like we'll definitely make sure that
this is for people
for
who don't know me at all and want to know my attitude, my worldview. Well, this is it. I used to say I'm more like Riddick, but a significant number of younger people haven't seen Pitch Black or Chronicles of Riddick, so it doesn't mean much.
Wow. And but they know about The Expanse. That's interesting.
Right. Yeah. So
yeah, that is a really intense series. I'm very sad that they didn't get to complete it in the way that,
yeah, that was a real shame.
So many good sci-fis haven't been completed, and I don't understand this. It's like, it's almost like the corporate overheads that make these decisions like have no clue what they're doing.
Well, exactly, and of course Netflix is famous for it. I mean,
yeah,
they came out with one season of the Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance, and that was it.
That was good. You're right about that.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like season 1 and even like the earliest part of season 2 and of Stranger Things was really good too.
Right. Yeah.
It kind of started going crazy.
It kind of fell apart at the end, as they say.
Yeah. So that's kind of what happens, I guess. So Mel says, I saw both in the theater with my husband. LOL. They were cool. So you got a person that gets you there.
Okay, cool.
So brilliant. Okay.
Well, tell me when I should start reading, and I'll do.
Okay, and go ahead and start reading. I'm going to switch over the screen because I caught up with all of the comments. I did the link. So, okay. Very good.
Okay. The structural limelight, mapping the way of Arda's lore manifold. In today's mythopoetic landscape, the limelight is often mistaken for the sun. For decades, JRR Tolkien's Legendarium has been crowded by what Neil Peart of the band Rush called performers and portrayers. Those who treat the Forge of Subcreation as a stage for personal validation, invented sovereign bloodlines, and scholarly cosplay. They chase the prestige of myth without embracing the discipline required to sustain it. The Way of Artist lore moves beyond this gilded cage of performance. As the lyrics go, one must put up barriers to keep oneself intact. And I'll just read a little bit of where that comes from. Basically the other lyrics of the song here I have them in it. All the world's indeed a stage, and we are merely players, performers and portrayers, each another's audience outside the gilded cage. Living in the limelight, the universal dream, for those who wish to seem. But those who wish to be must put aside the alienation and get on with the fascination, the real relation, the underlying theme. And that's what I do with my engineering thing, which I'm going to read here soon. Moves on the Gilded Cage of performance. As the lyrics go, one must put up barriers to keep oneself intact. These are not walls of exclusion, but filters of integrity, shielding the Forge from a metric tonnage of consumer-grade glorg, as I call it. that's like a zombie bar.
That's pretty funny.
the high entropy semantic noise that threatens to liquefy the substrate of our work. Way of Artist lore consolidates its stance into a stable manifold where three lenses, engineering, metaphysics, and intuition, interlock to prevent semantic liquefaction, which is what I call it.
Wow.
Here's my
this is Dave's section.
My way of working with it. The camera eye, engineering the substrate. The first lens of Way of Artist lore is verged from an atheistic, engineering-oriented perspective that treats mythological systems as structured information environments, my orientation. From this view, Tolkien's world functions as insurgent firmware, a low-level set of instructions designed to bypass the default operating system of modern social compliance and shallow consumerism. We do not merely read the Legendarium, we run it. Rather than a symbolic literalism, the belief that mythic events map one-to-one onto physical history, we employ subjective mappings. In mathematics, a subjective mapping ensures that every element in the target domain is covered by at least one source element, although multiple sources may point to the same target. Applied to myth, this means that a single mythic event can illuminate multiple historical, anthropological, or psychological phenomena.
Okay, before you go, could you break that down? That is a mouthful right there. So if you could break it down for anyone who might be viewing this later, or
most people by default, most human cognition, at least the ones that I've mostly come in contact with in Tolkien spaces, but also just people on the street, they assume that everything is bijective. In other words, Turin is actually person X from mythology Y, and you can map them one to one, and you can reverse it. Well, this person from person X from mythology Y, if you reverse it, you'll get Turin. In other words, that's a one-to-one mapping that's also reversible. Right. Surjective, more than one point can map to the same target, or more than one
I see.
targets can map to one point.
This is if you're comparing, for instance, in a different subject, if we were comparing not Tolkien, but maybe, here's a good one, Egyptian pantheon to say Greek pantheon. Right, there's some crossover for sure, but it doesn't map one to one, but there are points that come in
but
to
a
map,
lot of people,
and then multiple points from one thing to lots of other things. So that's why it's not literal mirror image. You cannot just substitute, and this is what I've been talking about for a long time. You can't just substitute one thing in one pantheon and then pull something else that is kind of related but not quite from another pantheon and mash them together and make up something that's really awesome, unless you make sure that there's no, if you will, remainders or tendrils into other energies from that pantheon when you're borrowing from it, because you'll have inconsistent and at best, and really bad effects at the worst if
Well,
you are
they
bringing
also
in something.
right. They also
So
come up with some very weird ideas, like
yeah, okay,
Odin is simply the Norse version of Zeus.
which yeah is
Right.
not the case.
Which doesn't
And
work.
actually
You can't
Zeus is,
map one to
if you're
one.
going to map that, okay, the Norse and Egyptian, or Norse and Greek in this case, okay, it would be a better mapping with Jupiter to Thor anyway. So um but it's still not identical. That would be like saying, oh, you know, you're the same person as so and so, and even if you're like that person, you're not identical to them, you know. So okay, I just wanted for people to that are not following, like, you know, what does he mean by surjective? What does he mean by,
Right.
you know, these types of things? So Dave, I think you defined it really well for anybody that's watching, and I really appreciate it. I'm going to switch back and see if we have any new comments, and we don't. Okay, so we're gonna keep
Let's
going.
continue.
Yeah. Where did he go? Dave, are you still there? Uh-oh. Dave, are you still there? Where did Dave go? Dakyndre, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, and I can hear you too. So something happened to Dave. Let me find him. Yeah, this is tech difficulties, right? So let me see here. Oh, Dave says his audio muted and he may have to log out. Okay, go ahead and log out and log back in, and I'll put you back in the room here. Go ahead. No worries. Okay. So yeah, stay tuned for his surprise, because I have a feeling that he'll be talking about his surprise during his section, and we're in that description right now. So that's pretty exciting. While we're waiting for Dave to get back, I should probably talk about, and I've talked about it before with some of our audience members, but maybe not all of you have heard what had happened when I was involved in like eclectic witchcraft circles and those types of things, like, I don't know, some 25 years ago. What had happened is that they used from the Greek pantheon, they were using like a dark goddess energy, you know, like maybe, you know, a Hecate or something like that. And then they were bringing in, for the god, they decided to go Mesoamerican and use the god Quetzalcoatl, who is actually in the, like, they align that with Venus, like the star Venus, okay, or the planet Venus. But as we know, that marker is already used in the Greek pantheon as Venus or Aphrodite, like if we're going to do Greek, right? So we also know that the Greek mythos is really famous for triangles and, you know, all of those types of things. So that's exactly what happened. They did this ritual, and it turned out all of the participants, and there was several men and women, and they all ended up in like triangle situations. Most of the time it was one male, two females. And like, it was weird. Like, they didn't plan on this happening, but this is what I'm talking about when you start mixing around things without care, and you accidentally pull in energies that you're not bringing to the fore. So anyway, I just wanted to like share that with the audience while we were waiting for Dave. And Dave, you're back perfectly on time, and we can hear you.
This with StreamYard here, this is now like the fifth time it's happened. I can't use it with my dongle. I have to use it on the iPad, so I have to remember that.
Wow.
So
Okay.
Well,
it simply
cannot be used. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So
Let's see.
We'll go ahead and read the so it's the paragraph above section 2.
Right.
So
okay, yes. Right.
Yeah.
This, I was to say, what I'm doing with the subjective mapping avoids the reductive trap of claiming a character was a specific historical figure. Instead, we seek the math of subcreation through constraint satisfaction. In engineering, a solution is valid only if it meets all predefined constraints. When auditing the thematic foundations or internal consistency of the Silmarillion, we test for high-resolution stability. If a speculative addition violates Arda's internal physics or moral logic, it's a system error, discarded without sentiment. We don't vibe with the lore, we calculate its structural load. And that's the end of my section about what I do.
At this point, did you want to share your system of like learning inconsistencies or like checking out whether something is a mythology or whether it's not?
It might be better if we do that at the end, because
at the end. Okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. So guys, bookmark that. We'll keep you around one way or the other, right? So Dakyndre, did you want to read your aspect of this?
Absolutely.
And can you read it from the screen, or do you have the hack MD? Okay.
No,
great.
I can see the screen.
Brilliant. Okay, I'll let you go.
All right, my section, the Master's Mark, canonical gravity. The second lens provided by Dakyndre serves as the metaphysical anchor. It treats Tolkien's work as possessing ontological weight, an inner consistency of reality that exerts gravitational pull on those who enter its sphere. This is not disposable fiction, but a serious act of subcreation demanding reverence with its well-cut stones. Canonical gravity, just as mass curves space-time, the core text of the Legendarium bends our creative output. Additions must remain adjacent, filling shadows without breaking the light. Subcreation versus fan fiction. In true subcreation, we operate under the flame imperishable, acting as junior partners to the primary creator. We follow the laws of the secondary world rather than projecting our egos or modern political neuroses onto it. No, them elves is taking our jobs here. Aesthetic integrity. If a ritual or conceptual expression or expansion lacks Tolkienian beauty, it is structurally incomplete. In Wall, beauty is not subjective. It is a functional diagnostic of truth.
Oh, wow. That is one of the coolest things. Can you imagine that beauty is actually like an essential, like piece, like where some people feel like beauty was just like it was an afterthought, or, it makes it better, but it's not part of the core. And, it's like Dakyndre is like, no, that's part of like what's going on here. It's awesome.
Well, exactly. And as it very much says, part of what pushes my thing is we do not, a lot of groups out there, nothing against them, but when they will encounter something that is inconvenient, they will often just ignore it and be like, we'll do our own thing. We can ignore that.
Right.
When you start doing that, you take away from the structural integrity of the path that you are trying to follow. And so it's not just an aesthetic integrity. It is a adherence to what the material says, even if that adherence is inconvenient.
Wow, inconvenience. So I will be talking about that like as bypass in my section. Because I do think that a lot of people do spiritual bypass, when things are inconvenient. And but it's for various reasons. And so, that's very interesting that, we kind of have some overlap there, Dak.
All
Very
right, it's your
good.
section.
Dave, did you have any comments that you wanted to say
No,
about
no.
the Dakyndre section? Okay.
No, I just like the way that the text came out, because
Oh, it's perfect. I mean,
yeah.
I love how he talked about the canonical gravity additions must remain adjacent, filling those parts without breaking. I mean, that was brilliant. That was really cool. I really like that. So, and I also like the idea of that we are junior partners to the primary creator, and that the flame imperishable is the essence of
Right.
how it and so in a sense, like where the elves are clearly stewards of Arda in the creation, I feel that humans have a lot more freedom to do lots of different things, but like I decided, even though I'm human, that I have more of a, I guess if you will, an elven aesthetic, an elven overview, something like that, that allows me to say, hey, I feel more like part of the elves, and that I have value in this creation, and I want to be a part of it and protect Arda, and like be a steward for Arda. I definitely feel that way. And I just thought that part was really cool too, Dak. I just wanted to tell you that. So I went back over to and I didn't see any new comments yet. So and I'm guessing that people are cooking, or Faith was like, says she's back and forth, so no problem. Anybody else watching, we're hoping that everything is great. So we're at the third section now. This is my section, the symbolic interface, imaginal soundness. Okay. The third lens provided by yours truly, Lisa Calantirniel, is the intuitive filter, distinguishing between mere imaginary fabrication, random mental noise, and imaginal rooting, which draws patterns from a collective thematic field through spiritual, psychic, and or shamanic engagement. Okay, the soundness test. And so I'm kind of a person that it's like sound music is important to me, but I'm also a person that is a textile person. So needlework and fiber and things like that really mean something to me. So I'm using these kinds of metaphors, so I just letting you know like ahead of time. So the soundness test would be high resolution. Subcreation reveals its bones. True imaginal work feels inevitable within its own framework. Like the stories of David Lynch or Neil Gaiman, which rest on unseen foundations that you can feel, you can sense. Okay, we sense whether a narrative has structural integrity or is just a fragmented whimsy. Okay, this is not to make fun of anybody writing stories that's imagination. That's not, I'm not saying like, oh, that's a waste of time, or, like that's not it at all. I just feel like that there is a difference between when you are tapped into your imagination, or whether you're tapped into like a thread of the collective through a lens that everybody can like understand at a very deep level. Okay. And I feel that that's what Tolkien does. I put David Lynch and Neil Gaiman because they have a completely different application. But you can, when you're reading their story or you're watching, their shows, you can kind of sense an underlying like, oh yeah, this is believable. That is a reality I could actually see unfolding at the point of like what had happened prior versus what happens in the future. It has a continuity that feels really solid, and that it doesn't feel made up. Okay, it feels like it could actually happen like that. And I feel like that with Tolkien. Okay, so I'm just explaining that as I do this. Shadow remediation versus New Age bypass. This is what I was like talking about with Dakyndre, right? We reject spiritual sentimentalism that uses symbols for emotional evasion. True resonance requires confronting the shadow, the disowned parts of ourselves. Notice that we didn't say it's evil. It's just the parts we don't like to look at. Okay. Myth and astrology illuminate these inner fractures before they manifest outwardly. We apply remediation to express these patterns consciously. We choose awareness over the toe dipping of those who use spirituality to avoid growth. Okay. I guess we would definitely be able to say that there are people that participate in a spiritual bypass. And what I mean by that is
there's a lot of toe dippers out there, y'all.
There's a lot of toe dippers out there. So there, and for various reasons. And so, and no harm to all of you who are dipping toes, but I want you to know that you're dipping toes. And I want you to understand, like, maybe you're not ready to dive deep yet. And I want you to continue to dip, but what I would like you to do is dip a little deeper each time. Okay. At some point, you may dive in. At some point, like, you may get pushed in. Okay. And we want you to be able to swim if you get pushed in. And I'm talking about life can do that for us sometimes. So it can actually push us to a point of not, being able to, like, do anything else other than learn about what you're learning about. So the tapestry integrity. So here's where my needlework and fiber piece comes in. The Legendarium is a delicately woven tapestry through Tolkien. Though Tolkien had left threads unfinished, its underlying structure is sound. Our task is to extend this tapestry with matching skill, enhancing its felt resonance while never unraveling it. Okay. So I'm hoping that you guys can understand, even as vast as his tapestry is, there was parts that were unfinished, and we want to, with care, kind of fill in those places, but also to maybe weave it and make it larger. But we want to keep the integrity of the creation. Even as it expands, we want to keep the internal integrity. And I think that all three of us have said that in our own ways.
And Tolkien himself said it in one of his letters. This is the actual quote. I would draw some of the great tales in fullness and leave many only placed in the scheme and sketched. The cycle should be linked to a majestic whole and yet leave scope for other minds and hands wielding paint and music and drama. So there you are.
There you are. What letter is that?
The number of letter I just found it online.
You don't?
So I could probably find it if you want me to. I mean, we'll
later we don't have to. If you could bookmark that for later. What we'll do is we'll add that into either the comments or into the video description, because I think that that's a really good point, because a lot of people feel that, like we were talking about this the other day, the people who want, Tolkien to be a museum that would be perpetually cataloged over and over again, versus this growing, but not just and there are people that grow Tolkien in a fantasy storytelling way, and this is good, I think, except with Rings of Power, but that's beside the point. Because they're not really telling the story. They just bought the use of the character names and the places, and they're really not using Tolkien at all. But the I feel that doing this in a way of integrity from the spiritual lens is the way to go. And I know that Il Salunte Valion was doing kind of a little bit of this, as a test project, with meditations and those types of things that, or dreams and things like that.
We do, but the problem there is there. I don't know. I don't know how to explain precisely.
Okay.
For
Okay.
one thing, hey, they have more demands on their time than I do. I mean, I'm on disability, so this is my full-time job.
This is your full-time job.
That's not true
Yeah.
with the people in IV. So,
Right.
it just depends, on whether they have time available for that type of stuff. So.
Right. So we're at part 4 now, which my guess is that one of us should read that. So, and then conclusion. So do you want to read this one, or do you want to read the conclusion?
I can do both. This one's kind of important, but yeah.
No, it is, and so I'm just
number
feeling
4,
like you probably want to explain this yourself. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Section 4, the epistemic variable, the peanut metric. And you'll see what I call it.
Because we're selling peanuts or serving peanuts. That's what it is, not selling them.
To safeguard this manifold, Way of Arda's lore enforces zero tolerance for semantic liquefaction, meaning the dilution of precise definitions into a bland, homogeneous slurry. We recognize a recurring archetype, the portrayer, or quote-unquote delicate genius, who may demand a more organic flow to evade discomfort of a structural audit. But in short, we're serving peanuts.
Yeah, this is a what would you call this? An allegory?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
We are serving peanuts. Okay.
like we've had people
pretend we're serving peanuts. Okay.
We've had a people, and this is what I'm going to directly mention next. But we've had people. We do intoning in our rituals. We've had a number of people over the years, different people, complain about the intoning. They don't get it, or it's uncomfortable, or whatever. But that gets you in the proper. I would say it gets you in the proper cognitive modality. Probably Lisa and Dakyndre would say it raises the right energy. However you say it,
I would actually
does
say both. It does
I
both
think so.
things. They are symbiotic.
Yes.
Right. So anyway, I'll go back slightly. In short, we're serving peanuts. In Way of Arda's lore, logic, intoning, and rituals, and rigorous justification are the design specs. If a visitor suffers a peanut allergy to high-resolution auditing, their safety is their own responsibility. We do not lower the forge's temperature to soothe guests disturbed by its heat. Just as a smith cannot work cold iron to please the faint of heart. Structural integrity trumps social harmony. The only hard constraints are those of the work itself. Your comfort is a variable we do not consider. Thermodynamics is indifferent to preference. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius regardless of the observer's sensitivity. If our refusal to bend over backwards repels performers, that confirms our filters are working. And now that may sound like, oh God, they're driving me away. But listen to the next paragraph here.
Right.
However, we distinguish between the malicious actor, like a diva, and the potential student. While we will not denut the menu, we will act as Olympic coaches for those with the right hardware. We do not expect newcomers to handle the full heat of the forge on day one. We provide the protective gear of curriculum and gradual tempering, building the routine necessary to process high-fidelity myths. But let it be clear, the goal of the coach is to get you into the forge, not to bring the forge down to the level of a quiet room.
Yeah.
So,
that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Yeah.
And then I conclude with the genus 1 manifold. Way of Arda's lore succeeds because it recognizes the Legendarium as a sub-creation, which I hyperlink because some people may not know Tolkien's term there. So I went to Tolkien.
I'll go ahead and I'll put that link in the chat, like the live chat, but it's in the document as well.
Right.
So
right.
Not a stage for ego or a gilded cage for performers. Our 3 perspectives intertwine like fibers in a rope. The engineer, that's me, provides tensile strength through constraint-based auditing. The metaphysician provides gravitational coherence through ontological weight. And the weaver adds textual depth via imaginal fidelity and shadow work. Together, they form what's called in mathematics a genus 1 manifold, a continuous, non-self-intersecting surface capable of holding complex structure without collapse. We required no shared faith, only a shared method. Way of Arda's lore is North Indian curry, a high-density system where every spice remains distinct, yet contributes to a singular, intense realization of truth. If the forge's heat repels you, the highway and the stage is always open. But if you're ready to don the apron, lift the hammer, and work with the bones of the world, the battle is waiting. So
yeah, that's a great ending. Although it's kind
yeah.
of funny, I thought about, I wonder if North Indian curry goes well on peanuts. You know?
I may have been mixing metaphors there, but
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. So,
And-
Dave, Dakyndre, did you want to go first?
Oh, go ahead.
Dave?
Yeah, go on.
Go ahead.
I don't know what you're going to say, so.
What I was going to say was kind of on the follow-up of that, whether you're doing metalworking, whether you're doing computer programming, whatever it is you're doing in like the regular world, our approach to this, or at least my approach, and the others can chime in, is there are tricks that, for example, when you work with metal, you learn just by doing that. Okay, certain things I can do this step and it will make it faster. Or computer programming, I can use certain programming techniques and get my computer to do a certain set of behaviors. But what you cannot do, and this is how I approach the Legendarium, is until you know the material, you cannot go in and start tweaking things and trying to create shortcuts and workarounds and deciding that this piece of information isn't relevant and can just be discarded, which we get a lot of people that they approach the stuff and they're like, I just want to discard this. It doesn't work. And it's like, okay, but when you look at Tolkien's writing, when you look at Tolkien's letters, when you look at, there's reasons this stuff is here. Some of it we can bend. We can be like, okay, well, Tolkien didn't clearly define this, so we have a sort of ambiguous gray zone where we can insert something from, say, the metaphysical world, whether it's a specific type of intoning or creating a ritual that, while Tolkien never wrote, works within the framework of the material. Other things Tolkien is very blunt and blatant on, and we cannot discard that because well, it's inconvenient. So then we have to approach things and look at, okay, Dave, Lisa, and I do this all the time in the background on meetings.
Yes.
Okay, letter 155, for example, which we'll be doing a video on in the near future, throws us a wrench into the machine. And as easy as it would be to just be like, we're just going to ignore it and go our own way, we can't. So certain rules can be bent, certain rules can be broken in a sense, and others are absolutely rigid and you can't do anything with them. Well, you can create workarounds, but you can't break that rule. The problem we have is that many people don't bother to even read the material. So they come in going, yo, I'm just going to type in this gibberish into the code line, hit compile, and see what it does. It's not going to do anything. You don't understand the coding language that the program's written in. And that's what we, as the three of us, try to do, is we try to each bring a different perspective that meshes together to protect the integrity of Tolkien's work while treating it not as a museum, but as a living, breathing entity in which we can expand sections for Way of Arda's lore that work while not expanding if there isn't room to. At least that's
right. Yeah, we have to keep the integrity at all times,
Oh,
no matter what.
what you said?
Dave,
What
a
you
good
said?
example of that is when we worked out the calendar, like meaning the days, like for instance, with Nos Na Lothion, like we
Right.
figured out the math from what your work came up with, and that's how we reverse engineered and kind of matched up some
and we
holiday
had to do it.
days.
A lot of our holidays come from different cultural sources in various Elven cultures. So, it's not all one thing. We made it into one thing because this is our use case.
Right,
But
right.
every piece of it has textual grounding. So.
Well, on that note, do you guys want to hear this little truth bomb in the pagan
Mm.
world? Did you guys know that the cross-quarter holidays, which are Imbolc, Beltane, Lughnasadh, and Samhain, those are more of the Celtic holiday, like tribal Celtic
Right.
holidays, being that like they even had Samhain being the first day of the year, and then like it totally anyway. The solstices and the equinoxes, on the other hand, were more aligned with like northern like tribes. Okay, and I'm saying this as a general thing. Some tribes may have aligned with one or the other, but what had happened is that when paganism was becoming a thing, they decided, so this was modern, the eightfold calendar that we know now, which by the way works really well for those systems. It was actually the combination of two systems, like one of them is the fourths this way and one is the fourths this way, so then it made the 8 all the way around, and that is a modern invention, and it's a good one, just letting you know.
Right. And then while certain things, like before Dave throws his piece in, just to follow up on that, certain meshings work. But again, the people that made the eightfold, seasonal thing for most of the neo-pagan paths knew what they were doing.
They did.
On the counter side, and nothing against it to people who like the person's work, DJ Conway has a really bad habit in, like, if anyone's ever read her book Norse Paganism, she took a cookie cutter approach and decided, I'm just going to, fit in that this goddess in Norse myth is the goddess from, instead of realizing that Norse mythology was a multi deity pantheon, she started in, Odin is the Lord, and this person, Odin is the god, this person's the goddess, and all the others are irrelevant. And it's like, so it goes back to, if you start trying to mesh things in ways that don't work, you end up with a book or a system that you look at and go, what were they thinking?
Yeah.
So because what happened was, instead of approaching writing her book Norse mythology with the integrity of the Norse path, she approached it with, how do I fit this into a Wiccan standpoint? And the simple answer is you don't. Right. Norse pantheons are not Wiccan. You can't map directly.
And it has its own pagan,
right.
Like religion, Asatru, heathenism. I mean, it has its own. So you didn't even need to be Wiccan and throw in the spice of Norse names is basically what that was.
Again, certain things. So again, certain things can be meshed if you know what you're doing. If you don't, then you end up with just you in computer terminology, because that's one of my backgrounds, is a system administrator for things. You end up with what's called a compile error. It's when you put in a bunch of lines of code, you tell it, okay, run this program, and the codes are incompatible. You're going to get what's called a compile error.
I just want to say, I don't know if you ran awk back in the early days, but it would actually say like awk bailing out on line number whatever where it found the error. That was always kind of funny.
So
that is funny. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, but that's
awesome.
The big thing is that, and then if Dave has any input.
Well, I wanted to, with the Tolkien quote that I made earlier, it's from letter number 131 to Milton Waldman, who Tolkien had, it's a long story, but Tolkien had become dissatisfied with his publishers, Allen and Unwin, because they basically, the reader that they had dissed the Silmarillion, and he's like, well, I don't like the sound of that, dissing the Silmarillion. So, so, so he made contact with this other dude, and he said, "Look, if you're going to publish the Lord of the Rings, you got to publish it together with the Silmarillion. They're not separate works. They're all the Lord of the Rings
Mm.
is the end of the cycle, where the Silmarillion is the beginning and to some extent the middle, you know. So he wrote this very long letter." And that stuff about other hands using paint and music and drama, that's from letter number 131 to this Milton Waldman potential publisher. So that's where it comes from.
Excellent. Great to know. Dave, did you want to, because now that we're at the end, did you want to talk about your little invention?
Yeah. Well, mathematics is one of my hobbies, and it's a branch of mathematics called topology and category theory, and those deal with what are called invariants. In other words, to a topologist, a coffee cup and a donut are the same shape because each has one hole in it, and the shift, you can shift things into stretching and deforming it from one shape into another, but you can't do any cutting and gluing. And each of these things are called different genuses. Like genus 0 has no holes, so it's a sphere basically, or cube, or any other thing, any other shape that has no holes in it. And it's goes into it sounds simple on the surface, but it's actually quite complex underneath. Anyway, because of that, and category theory is basically the science of categorization using mathematics. And it uses things called transforms, which map the way things are transformed into one another. So what I did was I took those basic ideas and made basically, and I'm also interested in a sequence of primes called Lucas primes. They're very similar to the Fibonacci numbers, except they have a different start point. And the Lucas primes are those those numbers of the Lucas sequence that are also prime. So what I did was I had this intuition, which is how I get a lot of my ideas, that if I want to detect mythic density, in other words, what I wanted to do, I wanted to create this algorithm where I could feed this thing an arbitrary piece of text, and it would analyze it for keywords and how far apart they were using the Lucas Prime 29. It's called chiastic measure. That basically would detect how mythically dense this piece of text that you're going to feed it is. So I did that, and I came up with an algorithm, and then I refined it later. Some people saw earlier versions of it, but let me go to we use for way of Arda's lore, we use a AI called Google Gemini for some of our work. So I and within Google Gemini, you can make things called gems. That's Google's branding for basically they're what OpenAI would call customized Chat GPTs. They're because each large language model basically has very similar guts underneath, but they have branded names for the different things that they sell. And I created one called Neurogate, which you can name it anything you want, but I thought neurological and gate was because you put this thing in, and it's going to calculate how close it is to the gate of mythology. So I called it Neurogate. And I actually have some examples here. Now, I can give you the result. I'm a Breaking Bad fan, so I had it at the very end after it goes through its calculations and explains the results. At the very end, it gives a summary paragraph that's in Jesse Pinkman Breaking Bad speak with a lot of yos and street slang. So
Oh my goodness.
so let's see here. Here's the mythic Audica. Now this is actually now, Lisa. I'm going to have to put this in since I'm on a different device now. I'm going to have to put this text into our Facebook Messenger chat because I'm not on the actual. I'm on a
Okay.
different device, so
So
I can't put it in the
some
chat
people
window.
might be coming in late or like just summarize like all of that you said. So I just put Dave created Neurogate, the gem, which is a custom similar to custom GBT, but using Google Gemini AI. So that's what they mean by gem. It's
Right.
a custom.
Yeah,
it's a
that's what they
custom
call it.
Gemini script. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Right.
So okay, and then private chat. So
let me see.
I'm over here now. So
okay.
and then I'll get it and then I'll put it in. So the reason that Dave can't put it directly is because it's set up that the only one that can make links for you guys to click into is me. So that's why it has to be done this way. So sorry about that, you guys. I know it's like seems slower, but we're trying to help you.
Now this is actually this is a test text. It's on. Yeah, and I'm also a Seinfeld fan, so it's also it's on the topic of risk management. That is so which has nothing to do with mythology, but I wanted to test it to see what would happen. So here's the actual there's the actual link to the online text, and here's the result. Let's see here. Let's see here. And I'm going to put its verdict here. Yeah, at the very end of its calculation, everything, it comes up with a verdict. It explains what it does, but the verdict is the summary at the end.
Okay, hang on. I thought you were sending it in the private chat.
I can't. Remember, I'm on a different device, so I have no access to the private chat.
Gotcha.
See, I'm on an iPad.
It's fine. I'll get it.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Let's see.
But yeah, while Dave's doing that. But yeah, the reason primarily for this video was and I don't really have time to, or not time, I don't have desire, but we're doing this because there's sometimes this confusion, and then sometimes in the background of things, what's not seen is we end up with a lot of accusations against primarily the three of us for either, oh, you're misinterpreting things, or you're, we get emails and we get comments all the time of, you're interpreting this to, so that, like, I get this one where it's like, Dakyndre, you're interpreting this so that you can gain power over the members of the group, and it's like, that is, I don't have time to worry about power over my computer, let alone power over anyone else. Like, I'm too busy doing other stuff. So,
how about power over ourselves? How about that one?
So the whole point of this video was to show how we to basically bring transparency to how we approach this and how our decisions are made. It's not, if we say something, if I come out in a video and I say, this can't be done, you can't bypass letter 155 in the way that someone's saying, it's not because I'm sitting here going, aha, I am the ultimate authority and I'm gatekeeping how you approach this. We're not doing that. I don't have the disposition to care enough to how anyone approaches this. But what I'm doing is I'm in protecting the integrity of the material. I'm saying that you cannot come into Way of Arda's lore and state that I'm going to, approach something this way, when Tolkien's materials blatantly says, no, you cannot. If anyone's gatekeeping, it's Tolkien himself who's gatekeeping.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that prompted this video was we might as well just be transparent in what shapes the mindset of how we do this. And because Dave and I and Lisa each approach in a completely different way, we do not often have conflict, because what we have is 3 different perspectives that blend most of the time very harmoniously. And if anything, Dave will be like, hey, Dak, you're on the right track, but this is going into an area you may not be aware of. And Dave's done that to me recently.
Oh, yeah. And then he'll give you the stuff to read.
And then he'll give me, he doesn't just say it, he'll give me 6 quotes from different sections of the books, because he knows them much better than I do.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, look at this. And I'll be like, oh, shoot.
We got to rework. Hey, maybe we need a board meeting.
I see what you're saying. Okay, how do we blend this? Because that wasn't my intent. So this video was to kind of peel back, for lack of a better term, pull back the curtain in Oz, and show the inner workings of how things function, and how we come to a decision on.
Yeah, and we're all 3 involved. It's not like Dave is like telling us what to do either. That's not what's really happening. He just happens to have. Oh, you just happen to have better knowledge of the lore than we do, and your computer skills are better too.
If I just said something without backing, then it's just me saying something. I mean,
I know. You never do that. You never.
It would be like Donald Trump barking a Glorgish command, Glorg,
So but that was what we intended with this, was to just show where we come from, and as always, to once again, at least on my part, to reassure that I have 0 interest in gaining followers, chasing prestige. I couldn't care less about those things. I mean, they are the farthest from my viewpoint when doing this. My interest is walking the path that we're creating and what resonates with us, but doing so in a way that doesn't water down. And I'll actually go back to, for those who don't know, we've been interviewed a couple times, once 10 years ago before I got here. Before I was on the board.
Before you were involved. Yeah.
Right. By a professor in the Netherlands named Dr. Marcus. And he came back 10 years later, and I was here for this, and I was involved, and he was doing a follow-up, an update to his research. And one of the things he discovered was that pretty much all of the previous groups that were Tolkien-based that he had interviewed well over a decade ago now had pretty much had dissolved. What had happened was they had deviated from the integrity of the material, and they had just drug in whatever they thought would work, and there was no standard for interacting with the material. And what ultimately happened is those groups they either dissolved entirely, or they have watered down so much that they are in essence no longer Tolkien groups. They are just a kind of soup of beliefs. And so our system was created so that we will stay true to the material, stay true to the path, And it's evidenced by the fact that over a decade later, the group is still growing, still staying strong, and still, as Dr. Marcus said, recognizable even with the name changes, even with the rebranding.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was actually really impressed that
Yeah.
that the core of what made Tia Eldelieva is still present and expanding in Way of Arda's lore.
Well,
over
and
a decade
purifying,
later.
actually, because it
Right.
could have strayed a couple of times, believe me.
And he said he was really impressed that it hasn't.
Yeah.
It is still what it was and growing.
Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, Lisa, when you brought me back in, I'm like, I got myself a lot of work to do because,
Yeah,
I mean,
luckily we have like tools to do it now, right?
I mean, there were elves doing backflips off, like the sides of the roof and all kind of, and spirits coming up from the ground saying, "How the hell are you?" and stuff like that. I'm like, well, how the hell are you? Just get the hell out of here.
Oh, and we had bylaws that were like,
yeah, that
from a
needed
manager
fixing.
standpoint, it
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
I need 6 months to rewrite these.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, but
Yeah.
you know what? Everything that we've done has improved us, and it hasn't made us stuck up or,
No.
jerks or anything like that in the process. Because our focus isn't, like one-upping ourselves. It's like just literally dedicated to the material and how it enhances our lives and how it can enhance your lives if you feel the way we do.
And as always,
basically it. That's
I
basically
was
it.
going to say, me personally, if anyone ever watches any of the videos that I'm in or any of these and goes, you didn't address something, how did you come to this conclusion? Reach out to me in email, reach out to, in a comment, and if I don't see it, they'll see it and be like, hey, Dak, you have a, comment. I will always explain. I'm more than happy to type lengthy emails, explaining what the thought process was that led to that decision. So it's never just an absolute of, aha, well, as a 25-year occultist, you need to accept what I say with an iron fist. No. I will always explain to it as to where I got that approach.
Right. I'm typing up the other one that we didn't disclose yet. I'm typing up Emily Baines and the work that we did because
Oh, yes.
you started to talk about that. So I'm typing it. Go ahead and you can tell.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just going to say that the text I posted in that was its NeuroGem's response to giving it risk management text. So that's just to show how it handles something that has nothing to do with mythology whatsoever.
So yeah, because you've tested it out on actual mythology, like meaning Greek mythology,
which I have two other examples.
Other things just to see like what it would say.
Yeah, which I have two other examples after you tell me that you're done
after
with this
we
one.
discuss Emily and so we have that Tolkien Society video. We have it bookmarked on one of our playlists, and I think it's one that's just titled Tolkien, and you'll find it. It's Emily Baines. She is working on her doctorate degree now. And so just letting you guys know about that. That was a fantastic presentation, by the way.
Right. No, it absolutely, it was, we've been very lucky in that everyone.
We've been trying to get the Tolkien Society to pay attention to us for, that was a long time. Well, and Emily comes along and just, hey, this is for the Tolkien Society. And they literally post our video. I'm like,
well, and
wow.
What we've been lucky with is everyone in the academic community that we've interacted with has, like ourselves, respected the integrity of the work that's being done. And so there have been, for both Dr. Marcus and Emily Baines, there were countless meetings,
Yeah,
hours
we have a
spent
lot.
hours spent back and forth on video conferences, emails, making sure that they understand where we're coming from and we understand where they're coming from, and basically just, it's why the material is coming out at the level that it's coming out at, because we're approaching things from multiple factors, as we mentioned in this video, and each of those combine to create something that is genuine and authentic to the material.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can't wait till we actually get like really going with the curriculum pieces. So
Right. It's
Dak,
being
did you
worked
want to
on.
update our audience about where you're at with, because I realize you're kind of in charge of the curriculum,
So,
but also you have your hands full.
okay, so on the curriculum, one of the things that's being done, and it's being worked on as Lisa said, outside of Way of Arda's lore. I'm handling and coordinating right now multiple steps for a international move this year from Hawaii over to the Glasgow, Scotland region.
It
So
is literally halfway around the world.
so
Like, it's as far away as you can get while still being on the planet. That's what Dak is doing.
so there will be all sorts of bits and pieces that will be being done with that, and that's in regular reality. In Way of Arda's lore, to go with the curriculum, which I'm simultaneously working on, there are all sorts of things. So, for example, we will be doing a video in the near future that addresses this. But as I've mentioned several times, one of those things and I'll give a sort of teaser here, is when it comes to the magical systems in Tolkien's
and
material.
Magic. Yep.
He is incredibly vague. And so when you look into trying to find out, we know that Gandalf, for example, is an Ishtari. He is a wizard.
Yeah.
We know that he came in under Eru Iluvatar's direct orders as not as his fully powered being, but as instead his sort of lesser powered being. He was ordered, come in and do not show your true power, in a sense, because it would be too much. It would be too easy, but it could also be corruptible. So when he came in, things like in the books and stuff, it'll talk about, or even in the movies, Gandalf raises the staff and light illuminates it and the enemies run. Well, it's very clearly a spell. But the problem is that Tolkien never wrote how that spell functions or what it even is. He just,
because in the mythology, magic wasn't something that humans could wield.
right.
That's just a characteristic of the system.
And so you run into, in those aspects, it would be incredibly easy to just be like, aha, we can pull from neo-pagans, everyone can do magic. Well, then you run into something like Letter 155, which I've referenced before.
Yes.
And for those who don't know, Letter 155 addresses magic within what would be called magic within the Legendarium. And one of the things it flat out says is that pretty much outside of elves and dwarves, the other races, humans specifically, have no magic. They cannot use it. Well, it's a different thing, but we'll go into it in the video. But they cannot cast a spell. And that complicates things massively for us when dealing with the curriculum, because It means that what I create for the elves, it has to be entirely different than what is created for the dwarves, because how the dwarves approach something is completely different than how the elves are going to do it. And then you've got the humans and the hobbits and others where they don't have magic. There are no hobbit wizards, there are no human wizards, there are no human spellcasters. And so you run into these things when creating curriculum is, okay, what you're left going, how would the hobbits do something? How would the humans do something? And as we're going to get into in this other video later on, each curriculum has to be authentic to Tolkien's path. I can't cookie cutter and just pull in and be like, aha, the dwarves would do this and that, and just do one size fits all and just apply that to the magic across each curriculum. So the hobbits, for example, and the humans are going to be ending up something that's more of what's called a petition-based system. While not identical, for those who are familiar, and we'll go into the detail greater in those videos, but for those who are aware of for those who are aware of the D&D terms, the best approach would be a cleric. A cleric in D&D has no magic. They have a patron god or goddess who grants them their abilities based on, those sort of things, and that cleric works as a conduit. Elves and dwarves don't need that, but humans and hobbits will, because letter 145 throws in things. And that's where, like I said earlier, you can't just be like, well, this is inconvenient, so I'm going to discard it. So the curriculum is progressing. If people are like, well, what's taking so long? It's that it would be very easy for me to take a neo-pagan approach and just blanket everybody into the system, and aha, you do these spells, you do these spells, you do these spells. The curriculum, literally, to stay authentic and integral to Tolkien's work, has to be adapted and modified to each path exactly as it is.
Yeah, and in the Hobbits case, because they're expert gardeners, and I don't know about you, but I think gardens are magic. Like it's more tapped into, if you will, natural magic. It might not even be defined as magic.
Right. Or
You
or
know.
even things such as, for the hobbits, food and community,
Yes,
cooking.
and
It,
that is
it,
magical too.
the best mindset would be that, and the hobbits knew this, was that cooking could be, in essence, a form, not a one-to-one mapping again, but
Right.
a similarity to sort of, say, kitchen or kitchen magic, like, kitchen witchcraft, which is what you see in folklore.
Yeah.
So each system and each curriculum is being created to be unique to the race that it represents, while staying true to Tolkien's material and making it so that we are not just duct taping things together and going, aha,
Or ignoring things. That's even
or
worse.
ignoring things,
Yeah,
right?
that's even worse.
We are not sewing the neck of a giraffe to the body
Right.
of a platypus and going, aha, an aquatic creature. No.
Right. Ew. Very good. So yeah, that'll keep you guys tuned for when we do the Tolkien and magic video. Dak, would you say that you would probably be in Scotland by the time that video happened, or would that be coming while you're still in Hawaii?
No, it will most likely be after I'm in
I figured
Scotland.
that.
And I just for anybody who wonders, I'm only in a advisory role on this because as an atheist, magic doesn't exist to me, and prayer doesn't work. So there you are. So
Right.
I
No, that's genuine for
so
you, actually,
yeah,
Dave, and that's perfect. So that's the beauty of this path, is that, there's a variety of expressions. We just want to make sure that when you are in your expression, that you are aligned with the actual core of the Legendarium. And that is your role, Dave, is the
right.
core materials that everybody has to go through before they do the electives. Yeah.
Well, and again, it was to address also because, like I said, and this is something that is very much we've talked about before, outside of Way of Arda's lore. One of the things I practice as an occultist is dragon magic, but that never gets brought into this. And I can't just say, well, it's inconvenient that Tolkien wrote that pretty much
Right.
all dragons were bad,
Right.
and I'm just going to ignore that and do it. So you have to make sure that what we do for each path is authentic. And even that's for us. We can't say, well, that's inconvenient, so I'll ignore it. If we did that, then we would dilute the system very fast, and it would just become a hodgepodge, but it wouldn't be a true Tolkien system. So if someone goes, well, I'm in a coven and I'm a witch and I have magic and I'm a human, that's fantastic. When you are in your coven, when you are, doing that.
Right.
But when you are in the framework of Tolkien's path, no, you do not.
Yeah.
How you approach it has to be adapted to the confines of the path you are in. You can't decide that I'm just going to mesh this in because I want to.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. So, well, I don't see any questions or any comments
I
in
think
the we have 4 people viewing. Thank you. We love it
I
that you're
posted
here.
I posted the the output of 2 other texts that I fed to Neurogate. One was from the Mabinogion, and another one was from the ending of Akalabeth. So this is just an
Okay.
example of what it gets. It's not all the text, because the full text goes for on each of these goes for about a page and a half, and you have to be also somewhat familiar with its constraints, like prime resonance, bilateral symmetry, glyph density, and so forth. But if people are really interested in these, I can turn them into
Yeah,
PDFs and print them.
you know what? This is too much to share in, because I only get so much room to share.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, so I will have to, what we can do is cut and paste this for the comments after the video.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
you guys can look for that. It's Dave, is this where you start generative syntax museum only? Is it, and then everything after that up until now?
Well, this one I haven't I haven't created it. I'll have to create another
Or
custom
trouble
gem.
comes from Dved, Dyved.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
Mabinogion. Okay,
yeah.
Mabinogion. Okay,
And
all
then
right.
the other one is from the end of Akalabeth. This is to detect mythic density. In other words, how
I
mythic
see. This is
is
what,
this
and
piece
this
of
is
text?
what your results
Yeah.
from your Gemini AI custom gem named Neurogate came up with, right? Okay,
Right. Now,
very good.
I have to create. I would have to create another gem to give it the axioms of Tolkien's Legendarium, so it could generate. So it could, like, if somebody wanted to write a new story, for example, they and pass it through a systems check of, does this adhere to the Legendarium axioms? That I haven't created that one yet, but this one detects mythic density of anything you put in it. So.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to share that a little bit
I can,
later, maybe in the comments afterward. And Dave, if you want to share them, I'll make sure that I pin them at the top.
well, what I'll do is,
yeah.
because of the way this works, what I actually have to do is turn this into a PDF. So I
Okay.
mean, I could do that and then
And
just
that
put it.
is also doable, and then you can share it with that PDF host or whatever.
Right.
That's a
yeah.
great idea. That's a good idea. Unless you're going to put it in one of your HackMD accounts, and then that's different. But
No, it'd be easier.
probably not. I didn't think
it'd
though. So yeah,
be easier to do
PDF
it this way
host would
because,
be great.
and
we
it would
can
be
do that
easier.
later.
And it'll be easier to do it in PDF because some of these contain mathematical symbols. So for people who want to actually see what I'm doing, so I know those are hard to replicate.
Yeah.
If you don't
Okay.
have the software for it.
Okay, so like you guys stay tuned with PDF host. We'll be linking that in the comments when there is a PDF available if this interests you. And I think that I'm interested in how, something that, I guess because a lot of times I do think that AI in general is actually always measuring mathematical, like it's weird, but I do feel
That's how it
that like
works.
even
That's
when we're
actually how it
not
works.
exactly like it's like, oh, we can detect how you're breathing, like what mood you're in, just by like your keystrokes or by when you speak. Like if you were speaking into it, it would tell like how, how you're feeling. Are you having stress in your body? Like all the stuff.
Well,
Like it's pretty crazy.
Large language models are basically probability engines. That's actually what they are. I mean, most
Yeah.
people don't think of that. They
Yeah.
like to. Most people like to ascribe agency to anything they don't like. So the evil AI, it's neither good nor evil. It's just a tool.
No, it's a tool, but it's one that we're trying to
yeah.
figure out how to use, and a lot of people are. And this is an interesting observation. I always felt that AI would be great in applications of left brain tasks. In other words, those repetitive, detail oriented, like collate, organize, those types of things. Great at that. But not necessarily for replacing right brain tasks, although we're skating a line here, with spirituality and other things. But even then, I would say that we still use it more to do the like comparison or compiling or things like that. We have original ideas and then it'll check them out and say, yeah, that's sound, or maybe not so much here. Here's where it's, you guys need to like figure out the discrepancy or whatever. It's, I just think of it more like in a good left brain way. And maybe there's some right brained type of applications as well, but I feel like it's more of a good left brain thing. And I also realize that AI makes an amazing mirror, and if you don't like your reflection, it's not going to be so great. The things that you don't want to see about yourself, AI is really good at reflecting that back to you.
Well, yeah, and that's why it's my personal opinion that's why some people don't like it. I mean, realistically,
it's not a bad opinion. Meaning,
look.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that I weirdly, I mean, I said this well before AI ever was a thing, but it was such a shock to me when I was growing up that people didn't want to know the truth. And I don't mean just the truth out there. I'm even talking about the truth in here, I've always been able to know like that, I want to do good things and I want to have good behavior and I want to, be like aligned in that way. But I also know that there is a time and place when, whipping the bitch part out of my back pocket is an appropriate response.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I know I'm capable of that. Okay. And what's weird is that people pretend that they're not like that, but then because they pretend,
Well,
they're
that's the
ignoring
thing. Yeah.
it, and then literally
mean-
that comes out at inappropriate times. Okay,
I mean,
like it's
te-
really weird, like how this works. Okay,
I will modify the lines from Don McLean's American Pie to illustrate to people what it seems like to me with these token linguists who are very obsessive and pissy about. And now I watched them on the stage; their hands were clenched in fists of rage. But no angel born in hell could analyze these texts so well.
That's awesome. But that's what I'm talking about. It's like if you don't own your shadow, meaning those parts of you that you don't like about yourself, okay, this is what happens. And so I know about myself that if I'm put in a situation, I will go complete crazy nuts. I will. And I have done it. Dave knows very well, like that we have, we've had some people involved in our path that I literally flipped a dime on when I realized what was going on. And I knew without a shadow of a doubt that it was deliberate attack, like not accidental, not like, oops, like not like, oh, I'm mentally ill, not like any of these things. It was like literally deliberate attack. And when I realized that was happening, I went full attack mode, and I like that was it. I was done, and it was war after that. You know what I mean?
I think a lot of people use that quote unquote mentally ill descriptor as an excuse. It doesn't work with me because I just don't care. If I see an enemy, I see an enemy. That's just the way it is.
That like the result is the same. Okay.
Yeah.
And even the mentally ill part, like I would still have to steer that towards like, you cannot let this illness seep into our path and how we're handling things. Like that's just not allowed. Like I understand, like if you like we all have limitations, okay, of one kind or another, but it's about like your intention and your integrity. And when I realized what the intention was and that it wasn't healthy anymore.
Exactly.
Maybe at one time it was, but something snapped. Okay, let's just say that. Or it was always there and then they couldn't hide it anymore. But either way, it didn't matter anymore. It switched me into, battle mode.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And I know I'm capable of that. And I do feel that I tempered myself very well. Like, I mean, I made sure that I was only, doing those types of things. Okay. To the extent of what it was coming in at. Okay. So I didn't, go overboard, but the parts of like, this is not tolerated in any way, shape, or form definitely was like, yeah, this is, I mean, and yes, we've had some niggling problems, since then, not lately, which is great. But during the time of this separation, there was lots of different types of attacks or types of, what would you call it? Like, attempted, reputation, sabotage,
right.
like that. It never worked though. I feel like our audience, you, okay, the precious gems that you are, and not meaning Gemini AI, I'm talking actual gems, like, like jewelry gems. I feel that you guys know authenticity when you see it, and it doesn't always have to be pretty, but that Dave, Dakyndre, and I are authentic, like just to a core. Okay. Whether we are perfect or not, that's a whole other, thing. And actually, I don't even think that's something
I'm a Leo. I'm a Leo. There's no, I'm a Leo. There's no discussion on that.
There's no discussion.
We Leos know this.
That's funny. Well, it's interesting because let's see, okay, I'm a Leo moon. And Dave is a Leo rising. So, you know, I think we all have some serious cat energy. And by the way, you know, if you guys aren't familiar with the cat goddess Sekhmet, look her up. Okay.
And
definitely not to mess with. Okay. Definitely not to mess with that.
And for people who don't know, I'm not an elf at all. I'm a Tigertherian, and
yeah, we talked about that in the interviews.
I call my tiger identity Richard Parker from the movie Life of Pi. So,
yeah,
you know,
so there's another cat reference for you. So yeah, so there, yeah, we have, you know, like, so we come from a really deep place of honesty and, you know, really deep authenticity, even if we're not perfect, even if we do have a shadow. But I think both of us do a pretty good job of owning our shadow, so that at least when we're provoked, we wield it because we're knowledgeable about where we're wielding it. In other words, we're more conscious about our choice of when we flip the switch. When people are not conscious of their shadow, they're not conscious of when they're actually using those things that are in their shadow as weapons against other people, because they're not paying attention and they don't know that they're actually causing harm to others, you know, because it's not regulated. It's not like, oh, I don't want to see that about myself. Well, that is the surest way to make it come out in a really unhealthy way. Okay,
they are
way to do that.
Or they are aware of it, but like to pretend that they're, you know, gods of sweetness and light and shit, you know.
Look at this. We have Black Dog visiting us saying, I'm a Leo too. Awesome. Well, you're in good company.
Yeah.
Leo moon, Leo rising, Leo sun. Yeah. So you got the whole mix here. Very good. Hey, Mel, we understand about dinner time. You have a good one, girl. No problem. And may go on and just listening. Okay. So awesome. Oh, and Hobbit. So yeah. And by the way, Mel is more aligned with the Hobbit aesthetic. So we'll, you know, definitely have more of that when we do more of the elective defining. And I already told her that we have a Hobbit division, if you will. Yeah.
Right. But I think we've gone over everything we needed to
I think so too. Yeah, I'm just making sure I'm scrolling down. Oh, that's the last comment. So thank you for visiting, Black Dog. We really appreciate that. And I guess we'll get going for the evening. And I'm hoping that all of you have a really great weekend, everything, you know, like that's going great during this time. And I know that we have coming up, we have, you know, the Moron and the Quaron for, let's see, this is February. So it's Nenime, which is the moon of waters. Because we already had the full moon of waters earlier. So I'll be posting those memes. So I guess that, Dave, if we have any videos that don't need Dakyndre, I think that we need Dakyndre in the Tolkien and Magic video. But if we have any other videos for our people.
The other one that I had on schedule before I did this one, because situation caused this one to pop up, but I have the Studying Elvish won't teach you Tolkien's method one. So, you know.
But Dak might want to be in that one.
I can probably, depending on when they're scheduled, I can be, I can most likely.
You might be able to squeeze it in while you're still in Hawaii. Okay.
Right. I was just saying that in terms of being ready to present because of how
the Tolkien and Magic.
Because of that, that'll be because of how much there is to create and write for that one. That would definitely be a down the road. But if there's others, I'm more than happy to contribute and, you know, be present for other videos. That's not a problem while I'm still coordinating the entire move.
Yeah, very good. Excellent. So yeah, stay tuned, you guys. So Dave and I might do the topology one, which actually will probably touch upon more about this custom gem that you made. Is that correct?
Yeah, I go into a bit
Mhm.
more detail about it. This one was
Yeah.
basically of how
Yeah, this is
we
the first time that we've announced it, though. Like, we've never
right.
talked about that before.
This is
And
this is
so,
how each of us
yeah.
you know work with Legendarium basically. So.
This video was an unplanned. It kind of was needed, though. It sort of, this is one of what they call what I would call an organic video. It wasn't a planned one.
Yeah.
It was one that came about due to situations arising digitally and things that were being communicated through emails, and it was like, look, we need to nip this in the bud, and we need to be transparent, and that's what created this video from my perspective.
Awesome.
Right. Yeah, mine too. Yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you for all 4 of you that are right now live, but I know that we'll be getting more views on this video in the replay, because lots of our folks are in different time zones, or they're
This one will probably be
tonight. Yeah.
I was thinking, Lisa, after I wrote it and right before we did the presentation, this one will probably be a good one. That's like, well, who is Way of Arda's lore? It would be a good,
like
it
this would be a good
yeah,
adjunct to the.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Like, because it really does share our processes of who we are, and actually even what brought us to Tolkien before we even met each other.
Right.
And I know that Dakyndre is a little bit newer for us, but we go back all the way to 2005. Incredibly, I mean, like, we just had our 20th anniversary back in August, and I just still like shake my head, going, how did 20 years happen? Lots of stuff have happened. So anyway, you guys have a wonderful evening.
Have a great
Thank
night.
you so much for coming. We really appreciate
thank you, everyone.
your viewing and your interest. And if you have anything that you want to know from us, leave them in the comments, or like get a hold of us in the normal way that you get a hold of us, Facebook Messenger, elvenspirituality@gmail.com, like, however you reach us, and we'll gladly entertain making something for you. Okay? Very good. Have a wonderful night. Bye, you guys.
Bye, everyone.
Namaste.